Hey, hello everybody. How are you doing? So, I'm sure, like me, when you go to a show, you are always eyeballing. Let's just get right into this. I'm sure, like me, when you go to a show, you're always eyeballing the show the previous night. Like, what are they going to play? These are the songs I want to hear. And sure enough, there goes Fluffhead. There goes Maze, whatever it is you wanted to hear. Well, June 12th, 2010 was probably my worst show for this. And it was not the previous show. It was actually the show after that got me. And this was the show 2010 at Blossom. And I've mentioned many times before on my channel, this was my last show for quite a while. Felt like at the time it was going to be my final show, really. It wasn't such a great show. They had debuted a couple of cover songs that night that didn't really land. Lookout Cleveland and Instant Karma. Although we did get a Ballad of Curtis Lowe. That was cool. Also got a Time Turns Elastic and a Backwards Down the Number Line. Although the number line was actually was pretty solid that night. One of my favorite Backwards Down the Number Lines. And a Mike's Groove. So there was a couple of positives. But mostly it was a pretty uneventful show. And I had the best seats I've ever had through the Phish lottery, that is. And I was next to some really stinky dudes that traveled directly from Chicago, clearly without taking a shower. So that was that show, and I just left there being pretty bummed out. It did feel like the end. My friends that I'd always went to shows with had kind of moved on. They were no longer living in the area, and then we weren't hanging out as much. They were starting families. They weren't really listening to Phish. And it just felt like, wow, Phish kind of got away from me. Like, I still like the band. I wasn't there like, oh, God, these guys are horrible now. And this was maybe the fourth or fifth, maybe the fifth show I had seen since the comeback in '09. So, and then it only got worse the next night. Now, if I had gone to this show, maybe all of this would have been different. This whole story would have been different. Why the hell will that not switch to the next show? All right. So the next night they go on to Hershey, Pennsylvania. And people don't have this problem as much as they do getting bitten by the previous night. Some songs that you're looking to hear get pulled from the rotation the night before or, put into the rotation, I guess. You know what I'm trying to say. So most of us, a lot of times, are going to the following show. A lot of times they're in the same city. They're not traveling far, whatever. Well, I wasn't going to make the trip to Hershey. And then and look, I'm a Gotta Jaboo guy, Maybe not a lot of people are looking for a Gotta Jaboo opener, but I would have been fired up about a Gotta Jaboo opener. And then we get into Chalk Dust, and then this is where they start taking them out, Like every show I go to, I would be extremely happy to hear Fluffhead and Split Open and Melt. They played both of those in the first set. So what did the second set have? Probably just only my two favorite songs, Piper and You Enjoy Myself. Also had a Drowned and a Tweezer, a Twist, a Free. Okay, you got a Waiting in the Velvet Sea as well. And a Bold as Love. But I would say at most times during like my Phish listening, if I were to at any given moment, if I were to pick a top 10, Fluffhead, Melt, Piper, and You Enjoy Myself are four of my all-time favorite songs. They played all four of them in the same show the night after I went. And I also remember that being I took that personal, which is a ridiculous thought to have. It's not like they're not in on any of this with me. I just know what I wanted to hear and got none of it. I got number lined. I got Time Turns Elastic. And then the next night they get four of my all-time favorites, not to mention a Free, a Gotta Jaboo. They played Horn. All right, I could have lived without the horn. I would get that later at the Nutter Center. So I guess that was it. I'm sure you guys got a story. I hope someone's got a story. I don't know if you can top, though. I went to a show, and then the next night I didn't go, and they played four of my favorite songs. And the You Enjoy Myself got jam charted. Boom, we're out of here. Love you guys. Have a happy Saturday. Anybody going to watch SNL 50 tomorrow? Any interest in that at all? All right, guys. Boom. Love you. We're out of here. Uh-oh.